every time I see a Trump banner, Trump bumper sticker, definitely gives me a visceral reaction. Don't like. Now, I do not hate the person who displays that sticker, that flag. I don't hate them, I love them. Because I love all people on the earth. Every person around, they're all human beings trying to survive and trying to do the best in the world. The issue is with the people in power and the way that they try to get us to hate each other. Because if we hate each other, then you divide into these teams. And if we're in teams, then we can start fighting. We can have reasons to keep us afraid, to keep us against each other. And as long as we're fighting each other and blaming each other for why we feel oppressed, why we are not successful in life, not where we want to be. If it weren't for policies of the other team, then life would be so much better. If it weren't for those people on that team who won't agree with my team, and that's why I can't succeed. And if my team was completely in power, then everything would be great. But you know what? It's a stupid other team. These ignorant people on the other team who keep electing these dumb politicians on that team that just prevent, because they're trying to promote their agenda. They're corrupt. My team is just trying to help us out, but their team is corrupt. And because of them, we can't have this perfect society that we want. Because don't we all want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Even if you're not in America, don't you want life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? You want life. So you want to live, you want health. It's important. Liberty, so freedom. You don't want someone saying you can't do this. You can't do this thing that doesn't harm anyone else. Now, of course, things that harm anyone else. You can go back to the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not murder. Countless other codes and other traditions saying you can't murder. There's definitely in all cultures and religions justifications for murder. They say, like, in war it's okay, or as punishment for a crime it's okay. Those things get talked about, but it's interesting because if you go further back before it's punishment for a crime or war against other people, crime, war, these things built by the oppressors to keep us, right, going back to the teams thing. You have those justifications, but generally you don't want to be murdered, you don't want to be killed, you don't want your life to be taken away from you. Okay, so as long as you're not hurting anyone else, who's to say what you can and can't do? If you want to go, if you've got your gun and you just want to go to the range, or maybe you want to hunt animals for food, like, this is just, it's natural. It's what people do. You're not some person just shooting, slaughtering animals, leading them there. You are a responsible hunter. You know to be respectful. You get your permit. You know the populations. If we didn't do this, the populations would go crazy. And I'm not shooting people. Look, I would have a good. This is not me talking. You're saying that you have a gun to protect yourself. You're not intending to shoot people with it, but yeah, if someone breaks in your house, you're okay. Look, that's the justified murder. Again, we're talking about it's justified instant defense of your family, your life, your liberty, at least you're defending. You don't want that taken away from you. Let's flip to the other side. See the more liberal, and again, libertarians, you like all these freedoms. Okay, cool. But we're talking about, like, red team, blue team. Let's go with that stuff. So, red team, I need my gun. Blue team, go over there. These two men, who present as men, are seen by men as men by society. Okay. These two men love each other. they met each other just as people. There's these two people. They're like, you know what? I bonded with this person the same way that my friend over there, who's a man, who identifies as a man, is bonded with someone who identifies as a woman. Now, that couple, society, the system, the establishment in charge, the oppressors, both red and blue teams until recently, okay, agreed marriage is between man and woman, the Bible says blah blah, so because of this you can't do blah blah, and they say, I'm not hurting anyone in the privacy of my own home. You do some things, but like, I'm not putting you on blast for the things that you do in a heterosexual relationship. You're not putting that on display, and I'm not putting it on display either. Like, it's not hurting anyone. I just want freedom. I just want liberty. Okay, so these two sides, red and blue, they both want freedom. They want different specific things. You might want a cheeseburger right now. I might want a pizza. Do we disagree? We can go to this food court. We can get both. We each get our own thing. We don't have to fight about it, fight a war about it. Okay. So the teams. We all want life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. This is the third one. Pursuit of happiness. We want to be happy. This kind of goes with those other things. Like, what's going to make you happy? Okay. Let's go very materialistic with this. What's going to make me happy? Just having a giant yacht. Why would people have yachts? It's not going to make them happy. Like, you would want that pursuit of happiness, but the society won't let you have it. I mean, to some degree, the corporations create this desire for these things that are only attainable by a few people. It motivates other people to aspire that, oh, maybe someday I can do that if I work hard for the oppressors in this system. Eventually, someday, I will be rich. There's that idea of, saying the concept that's out there that so and so. The people who support policies that perpetuate the current capitalism society that is prevalent in America and some other countries. The people who support that stuff, they are temporarily inconvenienced millionaires. Saying that, like, someday I could be a millionaire too, and I might be that, and I don't want to be, I don't want to have to be forced to give 60% of my wealth, 90%, whatever percent of my wealth away. Okay, first of all, the way that the tax system works is the first X amount of money you make up to this level gets taxed at that rate. The money from that level above is taxed at the next rate. So that higher tax rate, it's not saying that, oh, now that I've made $1 more, I'm actually making less money, because if you look at it, the higher tax rate, no. That $1 more is what's taxed at the higher tax rate. Every other dollar below that is taxed at the lower tax rate. Oh, someone's got the cool coffee guitar case like I have. That's cool. I don't see a lot of those anymore. I used to see them all the time. Anyway, you're taxed at that tax rate. So when they're saying like a tax on the top 1%, on the top 1%, like the richest people, like we're going to do this 90% tax rate, like this crazy thing. If you look back in history in America, we had like Rockefeller and these people that were paying these like huge amounts of taxes, and even other countries where people paying these huge taxes. Those are those times where you get these amazing developments. You get a lot of like these great things, railroads being built, like a lot of great public works being done. Some of the railroads are private issue. Okay. You get a lot of great public works being done because of these people donating a lot of their money to this. Now, they still have plenty of money after that. It's just the like top money. They have all the money that you need to survive on it. Like, if every individual in America made $50,000 a year, just with our current economy, current prices, if every individual in America made $50,000 a year, and we're just imagining, thought experiment, we're keeping everything else the same, so current house prices, current all these things. $50,000 a year, yeah, you can get an apartment, you can do it. I was able to with help of others, okay, to get the down payment and stuff, but with down payment aside and even things, like I was able to live pretty comfortably in a very nice house out in Las Vegas, based off of making, that was at the time actually $40,000 a year. I moved out, and then eventually it increased to $50,000 a year. And it was the thing of like, well, okay, without an income from my partner, we could afford to live. It's like, we're not going to be going on vacations and all that stuff, but that's our bare bones. Our bare bones is covered with $50,000. That's 2 people on $50,000. So that's really $25,000 a person. Now, again, bare bones for what we're used to for our comfort level. Okay. Our comfort level is not super high. I'm just saying, like, I understand there's lots of people living off less than that. Now, imagine we've based our whole life that we can survive off of $50,000. If she was also making $50,000, which at times she's making that, like, in theory, the hourly rate is that, it just, like, through circumstances of, like, scheduling and all those other things, like, it's so far in our lives, we haven't had a point where both of us are making $50,000 a year. Highest on our tax incomes, I think, is like $60,000 that we've ever hit for combined tax filings. And some people listen to this, they're gonna be like, "That's a lot." But I got a lot of my friends are like, "Oh shit, that's not that much." Yeah, but for us, like, when we're making $60,000 a year, we're good. We're going on vacations. We're eating nice restaurants. I built up $10,000 worth of savings in case of emergency. I had a retirement account going. I was contributing a decent amount to that, and that was all at the end of 2019, going into 2020. I was like, we were doing well because I had my $50,000 a year plus benefits. Now, we couldn't afford to get the same health benefits from my insurance company to add her onto it, just because the company that I was working for, my policy was a $10,000 a year health policy. So when we called to add her on, because it was a small company, a small family business, it was great that they added that on for me. So when I was making $40,000, it was really, they were giving me $50,000 a year because they were paying $10,000 of that in health insurance. Outside of that, and outside of, like, having health insurance from my family or something, I've never been able to have health insurance that is valued at $10,000 a year. I can't afford that, because when we called them up to say, can we add my wife onto it, it's like, okay, this is a small company, we can't afford to also give that to your wife. It's a thing. I said wife instead of partner. I was trying to keep it like good. Didn't want to, like, I alienate people or whatever. Okay, fine. I'm in a traditionally, like, heterosexual relationship if you view labels in a certain way. Okay, let's go back to this. I'm getting sidetracked here. So, what was I talking about? The health insurance. Yeah. So, it would cost us over $900 a month. It was like $946. It was almost $10,000, but it ran it down to $900 a month. It would cost us $900 a month to add my wife onto my policy. So, all right. So when we first moved out here, it's just my salary. She was doing more gig work or different things, like, you know, entertainment, costuming, and all that stuff. So they weren't guaranteed on the stuff, but, like, I had a stable job on that, which was cool. It gave me a lot of free time. It was the best job ever. As far as jobs go, best job ever, best people to work for, best work-life balance. It was amazing. I miss it. We'll get into that. And so, look at this. I'm making $40,000 a year. Okay. Also, there's the extra $10,000 in health insurance, but what I'm taking home, or no, not even taking home, what I'm grossing is $40,000 a year. Worked out to about like $14.43 an hour if you were to do hourly rate with it. However, and like I was saying, I wasn't working a traditional 40-hour-a-week schedule. I was salaried. Anytime they need me, I'm there. 2 months out of the year, I was working 7 days a week, 16-hour days. Really for like a month and a half, and then there was but 7 hours, 7 days a week, 16-hour days each day, no days off for 2 months. That's ridiculous. Okay, if you're not there's plenty of people who are doing that,
who are working multiple minimum wage jobs and trying to survive off of that. I applaud them for it. They're trying to work within the system, and it's noble. They're trying to provide for the family. They're trying to life for these job is. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, hate the system. Why would you hate someone who's working multiple jobs? I'm just saying, like, I'm not judging them at all for this, and I feel bad that that I was able to be in this position, working in the field of television, not in a traditional kind of, not a role you think of. I'm not a creative role. It was a market research job. It was weird. So, all right. So yeah, it's comfortable. So 40,000. Now remember, there's taxes. So I'm not really taking home $40,000 a year. That's not what I like after taxes. It's not really 40,000. It's a little less. Forgive me. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I should be doing my taxes. I'm going to do them. It's not like I don't file taxes. I've always filed taxes, and I do very accurate. I keep very accurate records, which is funny because then unemployment goes after me, and they're like, "Oh, you said this on this record and all of that," and they keep denying my appeals. And I'm like, I have all the receipts. I have all the records of every little detail that I told you and this, and you're just trying to get money back because you had to pay out a lot during the pandemic, and you're trying to find any little excuse to make me pay back a lot of money. Yeah, I got a lot of money from unemployment, and again, because I was making enough money before the pandemic that range of you could get up to this much money. Like, I was at the top of that range, which is also interesting because, again, the $50,000 a year is a lot to me and a lot to a lot of people. But a lot of my friends who are compensated well for their jobs, if all of a sudden unemployment is only paying you based, you can get, they're compensating you for a little less than a $50,000 a year thing. Okay, then the pandemic thing, they also gave the increased bonus, like the stimulus stuff, so you get the extra. So actually, some people, I was making about the same with all of that stuff with bonus and stuff, but some people were making less than me. They were making more during the pandemic when they were unemployed than they were otherwise, it was nice. Start being able to put money into your own business. Start your own business, because you can't do the traditional thing you've been doing before. Okay. Keep in mind. So think about someone who was making six figures, someone who's making more than that. They're now they're the highest thing. They're used to living at a certain level, and now they have to readjust it, to cut back. They have to do those things. It's difficult. I'm not saying we need to cry for the people who are making way more than you or I might be doing, but I'm just saying you're used to a standard, and then it all of a sudden changes. Everyone struggles differently. Okay. Let's just try to remember, we're all human, we're all trying to survive here. So, $40,000 a year. So again, let's estimate this. The take-home pay in a year, forgive me, rounding, let's say 350. No, I was saying 40,000. 30. I'm taking 5,000. So 3.5 of that, so that's 30. Forgive me if this is some hand signal that I don't know that means some offensive thing. I'm really just counting on my fingers. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm unaware. There's hand signals I do know. I'm going to try to avoid. All right, forgive me. All right, so it's that's this is sign language for, I think, F. Maybe we can go with that. That shouldn't be offensive. Someone might have co-opted that, right? Because the OK symbol, which all of a sudden means white power thing. But
Okay, so three and a half. So that's $35,000 a year. That's what I'm taking home. Okay, so remember that's where we're at now. I've got cool health insurance policies worth that's worth $10,000 a year. Remember, this is before I was making $50,000 before then. For $10,000 a year. But I don't actually take that home. This is for health insurance. Cool. It's cool, but I got that. I don't have to worry about paying for that. But we've got now $35,000 is what I take home. Now we got to pay rent. We got to pay the mortgage. Now, okay, I got really good help from my parents. I'm born into the right household. It's awesome. It's sometimes, I have privilege, and sometimes I try to deny that and not. I don't want to use that. So then I try to make it on my own, and it's a struggle. And it's a struggle for everyone that doesn't have that, and I get it. But when the rich professors install these ideas that it's bad that you grew up with that and you should feel ashamed just because of what you grew up with. Not because it's one thing to feel ashamed because you're like, oh, why can't everyone afford this thing? Oh, it just sucks to be you that you weren't born in this thing. No, okay, yeah, that's good. Care about your fellow human, but I was at a point where through the different influences that I was getting in life through the media, as well as things, social media especially. Social media, huge problem with that, creating these echo chambers, creating sensations, drink some water. So for a lot of my life, while I was able to have that safety net, while I was able to benefit from having parents that were more well off than many others, but again, not 1%. We're not talking anything like that thing. And this is that silly thing of the different income inequalities, at least in America. And I'm speaking as an American. These things perpetuate a lot throughout the world. These things come through history and all that stuff. So you might find commonality in this, you might not, depending on where you're watching this from. So because my parents raised me to think they want what's best for me, they're so happy that like they can provide for me more things than they grew up on. Their parents are happy that they can provide more things than they grew up on. That's great to be able to take care of your family and provide them with those things. And so that like, oh, if I do this, it's the hope that I don't want my child to have to struggle. Like that's one thing. Like, yeah, you got to work hard. You can't just like it. You also don't want someone, even I hear about like super rich people. Like, I don't want my kid to be spoiled in this way. Like, I don't want them to think that they don't have to work, do anything. I know, but like, let's separate the idea of work, doing something, producing something, whatever, with the capitalist job market society, working for a corporation in the system, the 40-hour-a-week, Monday through Friday, whatever, the traditional thing. This is what we do because this is how it is. That system, which is perpetuated by those in power because it keeps them in power. Okay, let's separate those two things. Let's go back to the hunter-gatherer society thing. Why do we need to work? We need to build a shelter. We need to get food. We need our basic needs met. And if you don't do anything, all right, just sit and sleep. Well, you need to eat. You need to get food somehow. So either you're going to get food or someone else is going to get food. If you're unable to go and get food, yeah, it'd be great if your neighbor, if someone else, your family, your neighbor can help get you food until you're able to, or if you were born the way where you can't get that. What do we do? Bash your head with a rock? Like you can't contribute to society? No, there's enough of us. We all can gather and hunt and get enough food that's more than just what we need to survive. And if we all as a community get just a little bit more, just a little bit, say like, I need 10 grams of food, I know small numbers, whatever. I need 10 grams of food to survive. I'll get 11. The other person get 10 grams of food, I'll get 11. just a little bit more, and now that extra gram from our 10, that extra gram from our 10, extra 10, that's 11, but I don't have 11 fingers. I use my nose. Anyway, that extra one that we don't need to survive, we're going to give that to our friend that can't work. They can't go get the food. Because, like, they still are a living person. We can talk with them. Like, maybe, okay, they don't have legs and whatever. And then, remember this before medical and all that stuff. But, like, they were born with a birth defect, whatever. They were born with a difference. Like, these mutations happen. This is how evolution happens. If you don't believe in that, we can talk about that later. Again, I'm not mad at you. It's not creating no wars. I don't know what happened over the span of millions of years. This is just like what I understand probably happened, what seems likely to be based on what we've researched in our brief human existence, in our brief recorded history in the grand scheme of things. We don't know how old the Earth is, but it seems, again, I'm just using the best information. We can't know for sure. Nobody really knows what these things, but like, take a deep breath. If ever you're like getting mad at these thoughts, just deep breath. Think about this. And again, do your own research. No, like, really, like, fact check this. By all means. I'm just speaking on the top of my head. I haven't specifically researched and written this thing out. I might get facts wrong. And I lose my train of thought a lot, and I hopefully can continue on these threads, but I'm going to backtrack a bit. So I talked about evolution because of mutations because of quote-unquote birth defects, differences. Some people are different. Like, is it a birth defect that the first person to have red hair? Of course, there's some people who are like, yeah, we don't have souls because they're gingers. Some people have this thing, that feature, a birthmark here, that thing. And all of a sudden, one of the mutations, instead of a different eye color, instead of a different thing, one of the mutations is an extra finger. Just look it up. There's people born with extra fingers. As a musician, having an extra finger, that would be amazing. If it like works, my engine's still on. I think I turned the engine off. I'm not used to this. Is the first time I've ever done a like video recording while I'm driving, because I always go to it as unsafe. But then I kind of realized, like, if you just have it going, if I'm talking to someone on the phone, I'm not looking at the camera. So like, I got home safely. You saw. So this is my first time doing this. I forgot to turn off the engine, but it's a hybrid, by the way. So I only noticed it because the engine actually kicked on. It was running through battery. Any noise you heard, I think that was the AC. Maybe it turned on before, but that little rumbling is what I felt. And so that was the engine going, the hybrid. I really want an electric car. I have issues with that stuff. I just can't afford it right now. Someone was saying, like, if you leasing is a good idea. Now it's like sometimes it doesn't make sense, but for this, like, the technology advances enough. Maybe I think, okay, I don't really have any income right now. I started making some money from doing random gig work, gig economy stuff, but I don't have a basic income. I don't know what my finances are. I can't go out and get the electric car. But believe me, that is a high priority on my list. Get some sort of electric vehicle, even if it's cheap and used thing. Like, I want to get rid of the gas thing. I know electric cars, in the grand scheme of things, they produce the things in other ways, but perfect is the enemy of good. Let's take baby steps here. We need to get off our dependency on fossil fuels for the good of everyone. The climate crisis, it's real. People who used to deny it are now accepting it. The industries that have been benefiting from this for years, the auto manufacturers that have the system in place to make these cars, the gas stations that sell the gas to people, and of course the oil companies that make the gas for people, all these things that the industries that are threatened by changing to electric cars, now they're developing these systems. They see where it's going. They're developing these things. They're just not ready yet. And other companies are ready, and they don't want to lose out, because if you don't progress fast enough, it's survival of the fittest. Survival. You don't mutate fast enough. You don't mutate in the right way. No, but humans don't. Living creatures don't mutate within their thing. This is something that happens over generation over generation. It is a birth defect. It is something that is different about
the offspring from the parents. It's just like bloop, these things change. If it's beneficial to people, I thought I was going to talk about this later, but whatever. If the mutation is beneficial enough so that that creature survives until they are able to reproduce, that trait can get passed on. If the mutation causes it so that that creature cannot reproduce, guess what? The trait isn't carried on. Why do these mutations happen? These mutations survive, the survival of the fittest. It's only the best of the best they grow food. No, it's really sillier than that. Like, if that mutation didn't kill you before you were able to have kids, which again, like animals, humans are animals, the organisms can reproduce pretty early. And if you don't have like societal things around that, like, think of it what you will on the things, just at a biological sense, that can produce offspring. Even if they produce offspring and immediately die, which a young uterus owning person, okay, we can say woman, but I just don't want to, because gender things, it's labels again, oppressors. So if we someone who gives birth, someone who can biologically produce offspring themselves, one person contributes part of it, the sperm and the egg, to create the thing. This happens throughout the times. Some animals can produce both. Plants do this. Flowers, it's different parts of it that, like, I'm not a botanist from the things. So like the bees and the rustling of the things, it creates the pollen goes from the flower to whatever other thingy that's carried on. I can't remember, but it's essentially like, you can think of it like sperm and egg, these two parts that once they meet in the right conditions can produce new life, new plant. Oh, that plants are pretty much like humans, so why should a vegan shouldn't eat plants? Because they're living creatures too. Yes, everyone has their lines on things. Don't begrudge the vegan. Be like, oh, what you should eat? That justifies me eating an animal because plants are no different than animals. So therefore, you're just as bad for eating a plant. No moral judgment on this stuff. Look, nothing that. It's just my choice. I've decided not to eat this stuff. Why are you so mad at me? Because I've decided not to eat this. I'm not forcing you to do it. I will let you know why I think this. And some people are mad at that because it makes them. Sometimes it makes them feel bad. I've been on the other side. I've only been a vegan for a couple of years. Used to eat a lot of meat. Loved it. It tastes good. It does. Whatever. You know what also tastes good? A mushroom with some oil. Like, that stuff can taste really good. It tastes kind of the same because, like, there's only certain taste buds and things that are going after. And if you season things properly, you can get it to, like, hit all those same craving portions. Maybe it doesn't taste exactly the same, but the craving things, like, you'll get it and it's good. And it might not be healthy for you because remember back in caveman days, back in that time, we need to survive. Food is scarce. We need to survive with this. We need energy. We don't get fat from the animals that often. It's hard to get. It's hard to kill these animals we don't have our tools developed yet, but we can develop them. We've been developing them. We can survive off of low energy, but we need something for it. And the fat and these sugars and things, like, they store fat in people. And if we're not judging people based on their size, like bears eat a lot, hibernate, they can live off of that, hibernate for a long time, and then they get hungry and they need to go again. Guess what? Humans can do a kind of similar thing. They can store up a bunch of fat and then survive off of that. Is it as good as the cleaner energy from plant-based sources that you would be gathering and eating all of the time in a regular thing? Because plants and these things are much easier to survive off of. Because remember, the people who were able to survive off of the food that's readily available, those are the people who were able to reproduce. It's not that we were designed to eat this way it is that we have evolved to eat this way. What does it mean that we were evolved to eat this way? It means that those animals that are able to survive until they could reproduce based off of eating the things that are around them, they survived. The ones that couldn't didn't survive. We now have more food available, more of these. You can survive off of more things because you have more things available to people to eat different things. But that fat and stuff that we needed to store that, it tastes good to us because when the taste receptors, the animals that tasted those things that stored a lot of energy for a long time, the animals that tasted that stuff and got dopamine released into their brain that told them, this is good, eat this, they survived to reproduce, to carry on the population, have offspring. So those traits, those genetic traits built into the DNA, they get passed on. The ones who had the mutation, that didn't have that trait that made it so that those foods tasted bad to them. Because it's just genetic lottery. It's random. Here's it. Like, roll the dice, see what comes up. These things. Some things are more dominant. Some things are recessive. Some things are a little easier to stay on. Some things are more likely to mutate or carry on because remember, you're pairing the sperm and the egg. You've got 23andMe. You've got half of the genetic code coming from each of the two parents. So if you have a clone that is the exact same genetic code being passed down, if two people with the exact same DNA, you combine that and you create offspring with it, it's the exact same. So like sperm and egg couldn't really come, I don't know, as far as I know. But whatever. Yeah, when you do the cloning and all that stuff, it's the exact same. You're gonna have, I believe, unless, well, in the replication from the RNA, the mRNA or whatever the stuff, the RNA that's created, if there's a mutation in that during the early development phases, mutation early on, so it says, instead of, because you just have that like one blueprint at the beginning, it's like, here's the plans, make more of this, and it tells your body, make more of this, make more of this, make more of this, make more of this. And if you have one thing here that's saying, make something else, I say we let them go, and you get a tumor, you get like tooth tissue developing here that shouldn't be there. It's again random because this is broken here, like a glitch in a computer. Like Missing No, my favorite Pokemon from the original Red and Blue games. If you don't know about Missing No, my favorite Pokemon is the actual Pokemon in the game. Look them up. Just random bits of data collected on. And what's funny is when you play it in the game, it says a random Missing No has appeared. Why is his name Missing No? Missing number. We didn't put the name in that because of the way that data is stored in the chunks and the segments and the bytes and things. You have the 150 Pokemon. You actually have 151 because of Mew. Data. You need like 156 blocks of data in this, so you've got some extra things. You have some extra bits of data that they like didn't assign. I'm not a computer scientist either. I know just some basics of this. I don't know a lot of things, but I know a lot of things. I just like information, but I'm no expert on these things. Forgive me. I like information. It's fun. So you have this Missing No, this Pokemon is made up of random stuff, and it's cool. And if you catch it and you evolve it, it turns into like Genghis Khan or something. So like, oh, it might be related to that. Maybe this was an evolution that they were planning, but they didn't actually do. Whatever. It was just random bits of data in the thing, and it's Missing No. So that's why I love him. Because he's forgotten. This is a mutation. This is like the weirdo. Like you have to do all these weird things and break your game. You know, you go over here, you talk to this person, then you fly over to this island, and then you go surf up and down the coast, and then you start catch, nope, and then all of a sudden you run into Missing No. Like you hear these things early on, the early days of the internet, and like, did you hear that? Like there's this thing, you do this thing. Like today, it wouldn't be this like whisper. Did you hear this on the schoolyard? There's this like secret Pokemon thing. Like now with the internet, the first person that finds it is like, well, here it is. Here's a YouTube video showing exactly how to do it, and then everyone does it flawlessly. And it's like, whether or not the programmers put that in there on purpose, it seems like it's something they didn't put there on purpose. And some person, I don't know how, they were doing some random things. They're like, wait, something happened. I found this thing. How did that happen? What did I do? Think back. Let's see. And they do this thing. It's the same thing. Oh, the fun thing about the missing no thing, the reason why people did it, it's not just to catch missing no. It's when you did it, the item that was in whatever slot of your thing, this was in the 90s. I forget exactly the details. Forgive me. I'm not a super, I'm not in a bad way. I'm not a nerd about those, super nerd about those things. Nerds are awesome. Nerd means you're like really passionate about a given topic, more so than the people around you, and you know a lot about that one specific topic. Maybe I'm a nerd about like life experiences. I don't know. But nerd's a great term. You want to be a nerd. I appreciate poking on nerds. I personally am not that. I don't have that encyclopedic knowledge of like to the date on the things. I just lived through it, and I enjoy the stuff I lived through. And I lived through Pokemon Red and Blue. Really, I just played Blue, but I mean that was the two at the time. I didn't play Yellow. I didn't play the games after that. I liked Pokemon Red and Blue, and then some people would be like, "You don't like Pokemon because you didn't play all these other ones." Okay, you can deny my truth. Whatever. I enjoyed playing Pokemon Blue. I memorized all those Pokemon. I don't know the Pokemon beyond that. I've known a couple of them. I laugh at the names and all that stuff. I played Pokemon Go. I've seen them around. I've seen this Pokemon. I've played Smash Bros. I know this stuff. But the one that I grew up that I grew up with on the first one, when I was at the right age to be obsessed with this game and learn all 150 Pokemon and learn the Pokerap. I can't name it right now. But I did at the time. I don't know all the details of all the things of all these Pokemon. I can't remember the exact thing, but that item in that slot, you'd get 99 or infinite. You'd get a whole, it'd be like glitch 9 or whatever. It'd be over 99. The same little like missing no glitches. You would have, it's the infinite item glitch, essentially. It's not really infinite. There is a number to it. If you keep using that item, it'll go down and eventually get to 99 and then 98, 97, 96, 95, They didn't have 3 digits for the numbers, if I recall correctly, IRC. I really hope I cut out that. But if I don't, excuse me, pardon me. So they didn't have the 3 digits, so the most you could get was 99 of something. And traditionally, if you just collect things, the most you get is 99. But like if you do this glitch, then you get all that. So like those, I think it's the Master Ball. That's the like ultimate can catch anything thing, and you like only get one of them in the game, or they're super hard to get in the game. So you use them on your legendaries. So you get that Master Ball. You do this glitch. You do the thing. Guess what? Infinite Master Balls. What does Infinite Master Ball mean? A Master Ball, if I recall correctly, if I remember, it guarantees the catch. That means you can't. If you throw it, you're going to catch that Pokemon. That's why you use it on the legendaries. And then you run into like a wild Mew or wild Mewtwo and you're like, oh no, I already used my Master Ball. In Pokemon Go, because we knew this, because you knew I'm just getting this one, you wait and then you run into Mew. You do that campaign, you run into Mew, the rare, the people who grew up in this, people who knew Mew is rare. Mew was built into the game, but you couldn't get Mew in the game. Mew was handed out at special, from what I understand, special Nintendo events and stuff. Like there were, like Nintendo would use this as a thing to get people into it and being like, I got Mew. I have a Mew. There was a trick based around Missing No, I think, that worked. You name Missing No. Some people said you name it Mew and then do some things. You had to beat the Elite 8, the final, I think it was Elite 8 is the trademark thing. You beat the last bosses with Missing No in a certain slot, whatever, named a certain thing. I can't remember what the combination was. There were different rumors at the time. I think I tried a whole bunch of different things. The downside is if you do that, it glitches your Hall of Fame records and stuff, so it's all corrupted, and it's so funny going through it, and it's just all like jumbled. It's a mess. It's like, you broke your game. You can still play the game. It's just like looking at that part is broken. Okay, but what it did do is it turned Missing No into Mew. as I said, like if you evolve, missing no turns into I'm using he. I'm sorry, gender pronouns is what I grew up with, using that as the like Dan default. I like to use they. They is the preferred one I use for others because it's the non-binary term that's currently accepted on that. Forgive me, I keep saying like he, calling that thing, or using pronouns, gendering these Pokemon, which some of the Pokemon have genders. Back when I was playing it, only Nidoran had the genders, and then based on Nidoran male and Nidoran female, that's when they evolved into Nidoking, Nidoqueen. Then later, all Pokemon had genders. Pikachu had a little heart. If it's the female Pikachu. Anyway, so forgive me if I'm misgendering any Pokemon. So missing no, you could evolve missing no into Mew rather than Kangaskhan. Like, it's kind of weird, this weird glitchy thing. Is missing no actually Mew? No, it's a glitch. Like, you do this glitch and you make that happen, and that thing that you can only get by doing a Nintendo official thing, that's what they intended for, which means if they have a code that can give you Mew, this is, you couldn't connect that to the internet. This isn't some thing you could download. The information has to be in the game. What the transfer cable is doing is not transferring this new thing that wasn't even in there. It's programmed into the game. What it's doing is it's saying it's unlocking it. Something that they programmed into. That's what the code is, sending a code to unlock that part that you can access it. So glitching your game with missing no. This is like not doing any outside stuff, not hacking. It's just like you found this part that they didn't playtest well enough, or they found it and they're like, no one's gonna do this. But like, yeah, if they didn't playtest thoroughly, there's so many options on these games. Like, it's not just this straightforward like tic-tac-toe. It's not Pac-Man. These things get more complicated. The more complicated you make these games, more glitches occur. You're not always gonna find all of them. These silly things happen, and then you find that, and then glitches, and then you get that, and then that turns into Mew. So I was talking about mutations. I was talking mutations for things. Mutations because people born with birth defects with these mutations who can't work, but we're not going to kill them because they can still communicate in some way. Even if they couldn't communicate, look, this is a living creature. We care about them. We love them. We're going to take care of them until they pass away. We're going to do the best that we can, or until we pass away, and hopefully someone else can take care of them. If we just make a little bit more, if we just gather a little bit more food, that extra one, we take that as, sure, we can call it a tax, whatever. We're just helping them out. We're just giving a little bit more. Now, if 10 of us have gathered 11 pieces instead of 10 pieces, we get our 10 pieces, we just give one. We're not giving half of our stuff to that person and then eating less and going hungry. If it's just two of you and you're like trying to survive, and the last thing, first of all, you don't have enough people to actually repopulate. Your species will die out in time. Sorry, it'll happen, but survive as long as you can. Cool. Like, you're on half and you're like, oh, I'm gonna kill them so I can survive longer. Till what? Hang out with yourself? It's the doomsday scenario, Walking Dead kind of stuff. Like, yeah, go a little hungry, shorten your lifespan a bit to have companionship. Whatever. Okay, so 10, you have 10 pieces, you gathered 11, you give one to them, 10 of us did that. Now they have 10, we all have 10. We all have exactly what we need to survive and be happy with it. To thrive, even, maybe. I don't know, whatever the thing is. We're thriving off of just getting a little bit more and not keeping it for ourselves. If we're equating this to money, you've met all your basic needs. You have shelter, you have food, you have healthcare, you have all this stuff. Like, you've got all your basic needs met. And I made a little bit more, and I'd like a PlayStation 5. I'd like to do a vacation. Of course, yes, we want to do that, we want to do that, we want to do that, we want to do that. But if we, listen. There are some people that, for whatever circumstances, they can't even get their basic needs met. Well, they should just work harder. Well, look, circumstances are different for them. They're just lazy. Maybe they are. Maybe they don't have the energy because of some chemical thing in their brain. Like, you know why you don't have the energy for stuff? If you don't have someone in your life who's dealt with mental health struggles, if you haven't dealt with mental health struggles, or if you don't realize that you've dealt with mental health struggles, and you actually have, as someone who recently was started on sertraline, on the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, the serotonin in your brain, what, as far as we can best guess, because this is like, we don't know for certain, from what they've tried for all the things, like, it seems like there's an interesting study that's like showing that like maybe this isn't how it's actually working. The SSRIs work, yes, but the way we think they work might actually not be the way that they are working anyway. But for our understanding, for the time being, from the way I understand it, the way it was explained to me is, so serotonin is a natural chemical that you produce. It keeps you happy, keeps the dark thoughts away. Okay, like something like that, whatever. Let's save that for the moment. At least for me, keeps the dark thoughts away, keeps me happy. My whole life, those dark thoughts were always present. I was happy, like have a desire to constantly want to die. Why is that? Like, even if happiness isn't a thing. Like, I was like a happy, positive person, but also like, if I happen to die, that'd be awesome. I'm not always going to try it. If I'm depressed, if I get down and bummed, then that's when I try it. And thankfully, that started around 97, whatever the math is on that. For all those years, I have, whenever I got upset, tried to kill myself, and I failed. I didn't. I'm okay. And after the last time that happened, and the darkest point, I guess, of that, at some point, because I had been making strides in mental health, I'd making advancements and trying to be like, it's okay to reach out to people. It's okay to reach out, because I kept thinking I shouldn't do that because they're going to lock me up. So I did reach out and I told people, and they locked me up. No, they suggested that I might benefit from spending 3 days in at least minimum 3 days in a behavioral health, mental health facility, in an inpatient facility where I could be monitored 24 hours a day and get access to this help. I think you could benefit from this. I was voluntarily in this thing, like one flew over the cuckoo's nest thing. Like, some people are involuntarily put in these places when they're in California, 5150, danger yourself and others. In Nevada, I think I've heard it called a legal 2000 hold. So whatever the different terms for it, you hold them for generally 72 hours. Why is it 72 hours? I don't know, but in my experience, these darkest of the dark depression spirals, I'm usually out of them within 3 days. Like, the first day, super bad. The second day, like, I'm still in the dark place, but it's not as bad as the first time, but it's still kind of in there. And then the third day, it's like, all right, I can see clearly now. We're good. And if on that third day I get that, like, we're good, we can let you go. But if you're not, we're gonna keep holding you. Now, of course, if you checked in voluntarily, you can check out anytime you like. You can just never leave. Ha ha ha. No, you can check out anytime you like, and you can leave, from what I understand. If you're not court ordered to be there for something, you can leave. I could have probably left within the 72 hours. In fact, I did. They assessed me because my darkest point was actually Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday was the thing. It was already 72 hours. I was feeling better because I was in the place to talk to them, but I was still in the point where, like, I was calm. I wasn't going to kill myself in that moment. But as I told them, yes, I do still want to die. Yes, I do still would like to die. I'm not actively trying to kill myself, but I would like to. And so they said, yeah, we think we should probably keep you here. So glad they did. So got the right things eventually. And I never wanted to be on medication before. I was scared of it. And then at this point, I was like, I'm going to take whatever it is, because I've been going through my entire life with this. I would like to not want to kill myself. So they put me on sertraline. They put me on this SSRI. My brain, for some reason, the theory is my brain doesn't retain to that serotonin. So it can get produced, and then it just goes, and then I don't have it. I think like sunlight, exercise is a thing I've heard that helps produce it. Okay, you don't exercise enough. You should exercise more and you'll be happier. Yeah, but sometimes you don't have time to exercise, and you got to go to work and you got to do the things. What time is it? Okay, I've got a long time before I need to do the next thing. So yeah, you can produce it in other ways. You don't need chemicals to do the thing. First of all, everything is made of chemicals. Everything is. There's no thing that isn't. If it's not made of chemicals, it's space. And even that might be chemicals, we don't know. So, everything's made of these things. Everything's made of chemicals. What you mean is something else. So you shouldn't need a manufactured medication to artificially give you serotonin. I'm not taking serotonin. I am taking a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. What does that mean? Serotonin, let me explain that. That's the thing that makes you happy. The thing that makes you not go into these dark depression spirals. Reuptake. It gets reabsorbed back into the body. It doesn't stay where it's supposed to in the place in your brain to make it happy. I can get into neurology. I'm already sidetracked enough from what it is, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to the thing that I'm supposed to. Maybe when I'm editing this video, I'll remember, and then I'll edit in some things later. But if you go along with me, thank you for being on this journey with me so far. Welcome to my TED Talk. SSRI, selective serotonin. Why am I skipping that one? Because I'm not scripting this. You're just making this up. I mean, yes, but to the best of my knowledge, I'm only speaking on things that I believe I understand, and I'm letting you know when it's things I don't think I understand. And if I am wrong about these things, forgive me. I'm hopefully not spreading anything that can cause harm in people. Do not take these pills because your friend has them and you're feeling depressed. If they were not prescribed to you, don't take them. Do not take medication that wasn't prescribed to you by your doctor, who you've told the truth to in all things. Don't lie to your doctors. You're not going to go to jail because you told your doctor that you were taking drugs. They might get mad at you. They might be a jerk and report you. They're not supposed to. They have taken an oath. They have said that I will keep this confidential unless they are going to harm themselves or others. Back to that part. If you are a danger to yourself and others, if they think that you're going to harm someone else, then they are required to report. They are a mandatory reporter. But if it's not that case, if you've told your doctor, I'm taking all these illegal drugs. I'm high right now. Your doctor has to say, cool, okay, thank you for letting me know. I can now assess that the reason your heart rate is so high is because you just did a line of cocaine in the bathroom. All right. What I would love is if you were able to come here when you didn't just do that, so I can get your resting heart rate and know if there's a problem. I want to do some tests. But I can't tell if you have an underlying problem if you come in here on those drugs. I'm just saying, you want to monitor your health. I'm not judging the thing that you're doing, and I'm not going to tell the cops that. But now I can adjust that. Because if you come in here with your heart racing because you're on cocaine, and they say, have you done any recreational drugs? And you say, no, never. That sends a red flag. They're like, we need to do some tests on you right now because you might die at any moment that this is happening. And rightfully so. That's not normal. Normal's a tough term. Anyway, that's not what we expect it to be because you've lied to your doctor. Don't lie to your doctor. Never, ever, ever, I say never lie to your doctor. If your doctor says, do I look fat in this? Generally like, no, you look great. Unless like you have a good relationship with them and you're like, no, I'm actually concerned like about, I know that it's just aesthetic and all the thing. I can worry about my own BMI, my health and all that stuff. But like, I'm just worried about the fit of this. I'm not saying, am I fat? I'm saying, does the cut of this thing make me look fat? Not, am I fat? You're not fat, you're a human being. You have fat on you. You dress in the right cut, in the right clothes, you'll look good, no matter what your body type. Am I saying that every single body type is healthy? Like, you can be healthy at any size, yes. In relative terms, you can be healthy at any size. Is there no difference between different sizes? No. Things put strain on your body. You're carrying a lot of extra weight around. It's putting extra stress on your heart. These things can lead to health issues and lower lifespan. Does that mean it's morally wrong to do that? No. If you're having happiness, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for you, I might care about you as a loved one, and if I'm looking out for my health and I'm planning on living for a long time and I enjoy spending time with you and I'd like to spend the time with you and I care about you and I'd like to see you alone, I'm gonna say that. But if you say, really, I really like the things I'm eating, I like my health habits, I like not exercising this way, yeah, I have a genetic predisposition to certain things, sure, all these factors combined, it makes me happy, and when I do the other things it doesn't make me happy. Okay. Like, it'd be great if you work on little things, just because for me, because yes, I'm selfish. I would like to have you in my life more. I get it. But at the end of the day, this is your decision, and I can respect that. I've been at that place. I've thought if pizza is unhealthy and it's gonna kill me by eating it sooner, or I'm gonna die a little sooner because I eat pizza every day. But if I don't eat pizza at all, I'm gonna be a little sadder. I'm gonna enjoy life more if I'm eating pizza every day. Doesn't matter if I live a little shorter, I will live a happier life. Yes, however, what about this? What about just once a week? How about yes, you can have pizza. How about just once a week? Yes, you can have meat. How about just once a week? As a vegan, there are those unhealthy vegan foods that are out there. They taste so good. That's not being healthy. I thought being vegan was about being healthy. No, yes, most of the time I'm gonna try to eat the healthiest diet because it makes me feel. If you really when you don't have that strain on your heart, on your chest, on your stomach, of the fats and those things that are weighing you down, the cholesterol and that stuff. When you don't have that strain, you feel good. When you eat junk food, when I have to eat those processed foods, not chemicals, these processed foods, the further you stray away from whole plant-based foods, not saying any amount of processing is bad, just the further you stay away from the whole plant-based stuff, you start to lose nutrients, you start to lose these things. It deteriorates over time. It doesn't provide as many health benefits, and it starts to provide a little more negative health benefits and all of that stuff. The further you stray away from that, the more the outside of the grocery store typically is the fresh fruits, the meats, the cheeses, then you get the processed grains with the bread, but then when you go to the inside aisles, that you get the ice cream and the frozen pizzas and all the good stuff, the cereals and all these processed foods that taste so good because they satisfy those cravings in us that we were genetically predisposed to enjoying because of evolution, because that's what helped our species survive in the past. I am well past reproductive age. I like that thing about you start noticing the gray hairs, you start noticing these things you're getting older because you only needed to survive. Your ancestors that pass those genetics on to you that start giving out in your 30s. Everyone starts dying in their 30s. I'm sorry, I'm 35. I know it's sad. It's sad. I know. I'm sorry. I triggered people. I made you upset. And I'm sorry for that, but I hope that in time you can, if you don't have a therapist, please get one. We all should have one to talk these things through. It's just information. Breathing exercises are really good. Water's really good for you. Water, breathing. Those two things. Funny, I know. There's the rule of threes, if you don't know of this. It's not exact, but essentially rule of threes. A human can survive for 3 minutes without oxygen. We say oxygen. The oxygen, nitrogen is the main thing that makes up our air. There's oxygen in the air. If you breathe air that's just nitrogen, you can't live off that. If you breathe air that's just oxygen, you get a little that mixture is what's good for us. If you need to hold your breath for longer, say theoretically, I'm not saying anyone does this. If you're doing maybe a magic show or something and you want to say I'm going to hold my breath for all of this time, and you're try it in the audience, try holding your breath and see. You go, You try, and like, you know, the timer's going, it passes, and they're underwater. Like, there's no way, there's no tubes. They're not, I don't know how they're doing it. They're just magic. And I can't hold it. None of us can hold our breath that long. Some people are passing out over there because they're trying. They're really trying. What some people might have done, one way you could do it, not saying anyone has done this, one way you could do it theoretically, so I've heard, don't try this. Don't take any medical advice from me, doctor. What I've heard is potentially if you were to just take straight oxygen, like the people who need straight oxygen to breathe, if someone who had healthy lungs and all the things in that age, if I were to take just straight oxygen for a certain amount of time, if I take it for too long, I'm gonna die. I don't know, I'll pass out at least, I'll get super high. If I take it for a super amount of time, and maybe I'll get super high and super chill, and maybe I've developed my persona on stage so that I'm always super chill and laid back, even though I have this energy that I normally have, but I'm gonna present this way so that when I do the oxygen, in the little intermission before this act, and maybe I've even shown you a video showing me doing that, and like, you're not putting that together, that like, I say like, I'm just breathing in. I'm not breathing in anything unnatural. This is just normal oxygen. And you think, I breathe in oxygen. That's what I need to survive. They're just bringing in oxygen. I'm just breathing in oxygen. The majority of our air is made up of nitrogen. Oxygen is a lower percentage in that. It's mostly nitrogen, from what I understand, from what I was told in school. I believed them. I am a sheeple. I didn't check it. I haven't done the tests. I believe them. So they're breathing in nothing but normal oxygen, just like you're all breathing, except they're breathing pure oxygen. From what I understand, you fill up all your lungs with pure oxygen. If oxygen is the thing you need to breathe, and we filter out the nitrogen, again, I'm just making this up. I don't know that this is true, but from what I understand of the world, this kind of makes sense to me. You can hold that breath even longer because you have even more oxygen to use up, to do whatever it needs to do, to oxygenate your blood, to travel the oxygen to each parts and flow and do all the things it needs to do in your body. And the nitrogen gets expelled in whatever way. I don't know what nitrogen's used for. And when you breathe out, that's carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide comes from cars. Carbon dioxide comes from CO2. The used up oxygen that's combined with carbon and something, we breathe that out. If we breathe that in, that carbon and oxygen are bonded, we can't access the oxygen molecules enough, and therefore we can suffocate with carbon dioxide. Trees expel oxygen. They want the carbons. They take the carbons. The food we eat has a lot of carbon in it. It's made of carbons. Everything, the carbon is like the most common element in organic materials, at least. I don't know. Anyway, so plants breathe in the CO2. They produce the oxygen. It's this beautiful cycle. If you're having trouble breathing and stuff, like if you're like feeling like I'm in this car right now and it's closed. I'm gonna open the door. There's a little too high concentration. No, I'm not in an airtight car, but as air flows, even in the garage, there's less CO2 out there. There's more CO2 in here because I've been in here for a while. I can breathe a little easier now. There's more oxygen in the air. All right. So if you construct this persona where you're already going to seem high, you sort of thing, you do the oxygen, you hold your breath for longer. It's magic. You're magic. It's science. It's not magic. It's science. It's an understanding of the universe in a way that most people, the average person coming in here, why would you know that? There's no reason you need to know that. Unless you want to put on a show and do some cool things. Now, what's interesting about magic and this stuff and having that understanding of the world is that kind of thinking, that kind of out-of-the-box thinking can lead to major advancements in medical things and all these things. Like, this principle is used in science. This is why they have the oxygen tanks for people who have trouble breathing. Maybe you're not breathing as often. Your lungs can't do it. So when you do take your breath, let's make sure there's more oxygen in there than there is in the atmosphere. I can feel the blood going to my face because I have more oxygen coming in. It's like recharging batteries. Feels really good. Same with water. H2O. What's H2O? Hydrogen gas. 2 parts of that to every 1 part of oxygen. That's interesting. I'm getting oxygen from the air and from the water. It's almost like oxygen is something that we really need. And like I'm saying we need water and air. Rule of threes. Train is back to the station. Train is pulled back around. Yeah, it went away for a while. Choo choo. That train of thought is back. You thought it was gone forever. Here's the thing about train of thoughts. Unless they get derailed, they can. That's bad. But this train of thought isn't derailed. It's found this other path that's going on. But the tracks are connected. It's still there. It'll come back. It might go all the way around the world. This is Snowpiercer. This train of thought is Snowpiercer. It might be a while before that train of thought gets back to what we did, but it might eventually get back there. Hopefully it does. We all hope it does. We hope we all survive on this Snowpiercer train. So, Snowpiercer. So, the rule of threes. Humans, general, rule of thumb, rule of threes. Rule of thumb, again, I apologize for the history of that phrase. I grew up with the phrase, not associated with that history. We know better now. I by no means encourage beating of other people. It's not acceptable just because the switch is smaller than the width of your thumb. If that's apocryphal, if that's true, I don't know. Rule 3, so rule 1. Don't talk about Fight Club. Rule 1. Humans can survive, in general, 3 minutes without oxygen. That's not for everyone. Don't hold your breath for 3 minutes. You can train your lungs to go a little more, a little less. Like if you're out of practice with it, if you're a different altitude, if you're a different thing, if you're in unideal circumstances, you won't be able to survive off of 3 minutes. But in general, about 3 minutes. The important part of that is, can you go 3 seconds without oxygen? Yeah, pretty much everyone can. I'll do it right now. Done. That wasn't even big. I didn't even notice it. Can you go 3 hours without oxygen? Let me try. I'm not gonna try. I can't. You'll die. You'll die. I've tried it. I actually didn't die. That's because the body, at a certain point, it says, hey, you're not getting oxygen. You should breathe. Hey, you should breathe. Hey, you should breathe. And your brain starts being like, and again, I'm anthropomorphizing my own brain. The lizard brain, the inherent thing. They're not breathing, they're not breathing, they're not breathing. What's wrong? Oh, it's because this part of the brain is telling them, hold your breath or try to suffocate yourself. This other part of the brain is like, I need to survive. What are you doing? I'm going to shut down the part of this brain that is thinking for itself over here and preventing me from breathing. I'm going to shut that down and send every single available amount of energy and neuron into breathe. And in that moment, I rip off the plastic bag, I do whatever it is. All I can think, my entire body, every muscle, is just to breathe. And then I breathe. The color starts returning to my face. And I'm sitting there. Now, some people say, like, you know, when you're suicidal, that in that moment when you've attempted it, you have that epiphany of like, I don't really want to die. they're confusing that for this. What I'm telling you, the brain overrides it. And as a last-ditch survival mechanism says, don't do it. What are you doing? We want to survive. This part of your brain isn't thinking clearly. I don't know why. We're going to talk about that later. Serotonin. Maybe it's something else. The SSRIs work. That's all we know. So I'm going to keep taking them. Because trust me, the difference is huge. Night and day. Did it happen day one? No. And the doctors told me that. They said this is going to take 3 weeks or whatever to start seeing the effects. And even then, we might need to increase the dosage. We had to increase the dosage once. And since then, so far, I haven't needed... Oh, my medication reminder just popped up. I don't have to take it the exact same time each day. I'm going to take it later. I don't feel instantly better. It takes 3 weeks to see a change in it. Because you get to build up that serotonin that you keep losing all the time. And it's a crazy symbol. I'm just talking about like in the brain. I have to build that up. And then when you have that serotonin, we're all good. Okay. So something's wrong with this part. You should check that out later, but for right now, I'm taking over. I'm pointing to the wrong points where the stuff lights up, whatever. Maybe it's different in my brain. Who knows? I haven't had that scan done. I know, medication reminder. Thank you. I appreciate you. That also means it's noon. The next thing I need to do is at 2, and really the only next thing I need to do is sit in my car and do another one of these. I could just keep going. But I'd rather work on some other things. I got some cool projects going on. I really want to work on that, some animation, some videos. It's going to be awesome. I don't know when I'm going to be posting this. If I happen to post this on time, if you see me posting about events coming up, if it's one that's like me and acoustic guitar, it'll be fun. If you see something me posting about something that looks weird, like with a weird costume and stuff, I've tried it in the past and it didn't work. I am working on this and hoping it's gonna be really cool. It might be terrible. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. This is my first time trying it out, and maybe I have if I haven't posted this until months later. I'll timestamp it. It's Tuesday, February 27th at 12:01 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know if it's daylight standard or savings. I can't remember. I just say Pacific time. So do with that what you will. That's when I recorded this. I want to edit it down a little bit. We'll see if I can do that really quickly and then post it out. This is really long so far. I've been recording, if I've edited this down, this unedited, 1 hour and 16 minutes, almost 1 hour and 17 minutes. Kudos if you've lasted this long. And I'm happy that you're interested in this. Because I'm interested and that's why I'm talking about it. And of course the train of thought goes so that brain takes it over. If you've been suicidal, you might relate to this. If you've never been, that's what's going on in my brain, not in everyone's. I don't know what's in someone else's brain. I can only talk about my life experiences, and maybe they relate to yours, maybe they don't. I don't know. There's this weird angle thing where like I'm looking from this, I get these weird eyes. It's just how it is. I don't know. I could make a better angle. This is very casual. I didn't spend the time to set this up. I was just driving. This is where my phone mounts when I'm driving, so that I can like glance down at the screen for directions. I don't like hearing the audio directions, but I get a little buzz on my watch. Again, I'm well off. These are things that are important to me. They make my life happier. So when I had the available funds, when I was making more money, when I get that bonus, I'm like, I'm gonna get an Apple Watch. This is a much older model of it. It still works. Battery doesn't last as long, but you do more low power mode. I tell people when they ask about it, like, my thing is, you don't need an Apple Watch. If you don't have one, you don't need one. If you get one and you enjoy it, it's gonna be really hard to live without it. When this thing dies, right now I don't have a ton of money. This thing dies, I'm gonna try to get the money together. I'm gonna figure out a way. I'm gonna do what I need to do to buy a new one. I'll be happy I'll get the newest one, and hopefully they work out those things where they can actually have the blood oxygen monitoring, or the blood oxygen monitoring. That stuff's important. We were just talking about this. Oxygen, we get it from air, we get it from water. It's good to know that there's oxygen in your blood, and if something's going wrong with that, yes, this isn't a medical device. Like, it's not meant to replace a doctor, but if it can help you get an early detection and warning that something might be wrong with like the AFib stuff that's on here, why not have a little device on here? Yeah, for legal purposes, because we live in a litigious society on that. If you're like, this thing didn't tell me that I was gonna die, or this thing told me that I might be at risk for heart attack and I freaked out. Okay, let's just understand things. I'm not mocking you. I'm sorry. That tone, I apologize. I'm influenced by everything in my society, and unfortunately, some of those influences through media and all these things have a negative tone to it and are hurtful to people. And that's sometimes it defaults to that when I'm not thinking clearly. And I apologize. Thank you for forgiving me on that and going with me. I just want everyone to be happy. So the Apple Watch, like those health things, like it's if you can have things that's going to help you out a little bit. The autopilot on cars. If you rely on it completely to drive you and you're like, I'm gonna go take a nap in the back. No, that's not, the technology is not there yet. Let's understand that. What can it do? I use cruise control on my car. Does that mean I never have to touch the pedals? Because remember, cruise control in my car, it does the gas. It keeps the accelerator at a certain speed. No matter the terrain, it tries to adjust the acceleration and the engine to always keep a consistent speed. So I set it at the speed limit on a nice clear road, driving down the 15 in the middle of the night. Nobody's there, set it at the speed limit. I know, stay in the right lane. If I come across a car that's going a little slower, I can then put the signal on, move over to the left lane, move past them, put the signal on, move back to the right lane. Why do I keep moving back to the right lane? It's a 2-lane road. In the United States, you got a 2-lane road. You stay in the right lane. But doesn't that increase traffic? Because if everyone's just in the right lane, you can alleviate that traffic by going into the left lane. That's the Los Angeles way of thinking about things. Let's alleviate traffic by adding another lane. If you do this, if you get on the road and you are at the speed limit, sure, there might be a backup to get on that highway or whatever. I'm talking about like whatever circumstance. There's a lot of cars. There's more than that need to be moved. We've built society in a weird way. We don't live locally. It's great that we can travel. We don't really live locally. We eat food that's trucked across the country, that's shipped across the ocean. Yeah, we get access to a lot of cool stuff that we wouldn't normally get to do without traveling. That's awesome. That stuff's not native here. You can't really grow it here that well, that easily. So we ship it in from others. Maybe it's cheaper to get from other places. So we're not eating locally. Hippie, eating locally. I'm just saying, like, if we're eating food that's shipped in from other, do I eat locally? I try to. Like, if that's the option, I'll take the local one. It's not something I've made a habit to do the way that I have to eat a vegan diet. It's more, life's complicated. Okay? Perfect is the enemy of good. Try to do it a little better each time. Watch The Good Place if you haven't. The whole thing. Just watch it. It's good. If you really like that, read Michael Schur's book, How to Be Perfect. How to Be Perfect. Don't read the book first if you have any desire to ever watch The Good Place, and you should. It's a good show. Go with it. If you don't like it at first, just give it time. Give it time. End of the first season, really good, and then it keeps going from there. I'm not going to spoil anything. Watch The Good Place. It's really good. You can probably get it on a streaming service now. It's all complete. You can binge it. Great. That book goes into like all the philosophy and things. They were working with real philosophers, people, scholars who study this stuff. What is it to know? What is it to be good? Philosophy is super interesting. If philosophy was a profession, I suppose you could consider me a philosopher. Philosopher is a person who comes from a family that has some time. They don't have to go spend their time working all the time, and maybe they have some extra time to sit and think. The driving that I do, I start thinking, analyzing all of what do I know about the world? What have I experienced in my life? I've taken in this bit here and this bit there. Yeah, I took some philosophy classes, but like, I'm not well versed in the history of philosophy. But philosophy is, I forget the actual term. That's ology. Osophy. Phil, let's try this out. Let's try my I didn't study Latin roots. I studied a bit of Latin. Philosophy. Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. Brother, humanity. Philosophy. Phil is humanity. Osophy. So ology is like the study of. Osophy. Maybe that's the exploration of, or the examination of humanity. The examination of humanity. Philosophy. Examination of humanity. It makes sense to me. I don't know if it's right. If those things like, what does this mean on a test when you're taking the SATs? If you're in high school right now, you need to take the SATs. You get the thing like, what does this term mean? I have never seen this word before. What do I know? Know your Latin roots. I don't speak Latin. I didn't take Latin class. Okay. Phil, where have you seen that before? City of brotherly love. Philadelphia. Why is it called that? Philia. Like Ophelia in Shakespeare. Anyway, a philanthropist, a pedophile, necrophilia, copophilia. Don't look up these terms. Just saying. Homophilia, opposite of homophobia. Phobia, fear of. Homophilia. The same, homo, the same. Fear of the same. I get that it's in terms of like same-sex couples, but think about it this way. Fear of the same. Fear of what you are. Fear that you too could be ostracized by society just because of who you love. Why are there so many prominent people who say so much hateful things about gay people and pass legislation? Certain politicians, certain political figures, prominent people who say these hateful things and make this legislation, and then all of a sudden it comes out, they were gay or they did a gay thing. Fear of the same. Fear that I too could be ostracized by society, so I'm going to repress it and pretend that I'm not that. Homophilia, love of the same, understanding that we are the same. We're both humans. We just want love. Do I want to have a romantic relationship with you? I didn't say that. That's separate. Bonding. I don't know. Society isn't a weird thing. We have these things. We're attracted to people because, again, it helps us procreate, keep the species going, whatever. But like, we're not destined to love a certain thing. Like, again, the randomness of it, the people who survive long enough to mate go on. So like the people who mate and are able to reproduce, traditional heterosexual thing, are able to reproduce if everything's going correctly in the biology. A gay couple in natural unassisted terms, as far as we know, can't reproduce. So therefore, they don't pass those traits on, the genes, the genetic information, and then can die out. But that's interesting. So until recently, where you have these different scientific advancements where you can have a biological child in a gay relationship that does have your genetic material and you can pass that on. That's terrible. We're just gonna make more gay people. Hold on a second. Until very recently, the only way to make a gay person is by straight people reproducing. Think about that. It's not gay people that makes gay people. It's straight people. We have labels on things. This is not working. So let's go back to the politician. Fear of the same. I'm afraid because I'm like you. Homophilia. I have love for you because you're another human like me. Love, compassion. Not love, intimate. Compassion. I love you. I care about you. Homophilia. I guess I'm a homophile. I don't know. I might be a homophone. Phone, phonics, sounds same. Anyway, homonym, homophone. Homonym is a word that's the same word but has a different meaning, like two two. No, that's homophone. Homonym. Same spelling. Lead and lead. Yes. Anyway, homophone. 2 words. Sound the same but spelled differently. If there's if they sound the same and they're spelled the same, I don't know. I only taught English for a little bit. I'm gonna need to refill my water soon. Maybe I'll start this again. I don't know. I'm also gonna need to use the restroom because I've been drinking a lot of water. It's been going for an hour and a half. So, but I don't want to abandon this train. Choo-choo. Homophilia. Philadelphia. Homophilia? That was homophobia. Fear of the other. Fear of the self. Maybe you fear them because you are gay. Maybe you're not gay. Maybe we just love people. Maybe you're just afraid that you might be. And so you gotta be macho because society has been built into the thing that, like, it's not okay to be gay. Why did they say it's not okay to be gay? Because in a gender normative society, maybe if there's a woman and a man, men have more rights. Men go out and work and do the thing, and women take care of the household. It's not about they're equal, they're separate but equal. Some of you are picking up on that. They're separate. They have separate responsibilities, but they're equal. They're equivalent responsibilities. That's just how it is. Why was it that way? Well, it just makes sense because women give birth to the children. They're the ones who are pregnant with the children, so they're going to be at home raising the children. They're bonded with them more. Maybe. There's definitely people who don't have a cis woman in their life who are bonded with their kids. Okay. Love them any less? Adopted kids? Do you love them any less because you didn't give birth to them? Okay. But, okay, so, you know, in that society, in the patriarchy, patra, father, madre, these words, the patriarchy, ruling class, the fathers, the men rule, matriarchy, women rule, or at least a woman, tricky words. So, in that society where men rule, where men are the current established power, there's also matriarchies, but there's mostly patriarchies. Okay, so men are in power. Anything you can do to keep your power, okay? Like, there's a lot of fronts. It's not saying this one thing is what keeps them in power. It's a tough job, keeping power. There's a lot of people to oppress. Without them knowing it, because here's the other thing, there's more of them than there are of the people in power. The 1%. The 0.1%. The top of the top of the top of the top that are in power. There's more of us than there are of them. They don't want us to realize that because they're afraid, phobia, that if we realized that, we would rise up and eat the rich. Why do they fear that? Like, you might not want to, I'm not going to go. I don't want to kill people. I want to love people. I just want everyone to get along. Why would they think that? That's ridiculous. Because some people, based on the way they were raised in privilege, and they understand that it can be taken away from them very easily. You've seen the wars in Europe, the wars that go on. One moment, Napoleon has everything. It's a large empire. The next moment, another empire comes along. He has to retire to an island, exiled to live on a tropical paradise. I don't know if it was in the tropics. I don't know if it was all that great. Whatever. I have to watch that movie. I hear it's not factually accurate. Kubrick was trying to make it. That was the last film he was trying to make, and so it's a big deal to make the Napoleon movie. Anyway. I don't even know if that was the one that he was trying to make. The one before that was AI that he kind of incompleted. I think Eyes Wide Shut is his last film he actually got to finish. But he had done the script for AI, I think, or something. Whatever. Kubrick. Good stuff. I like his movies. Doctor Strangelove. Favorite of his. Pretty sure that's my favorite. He's got a lot of good movies. 2001's pretty good too. A little inaccessible for most people. That's good. Choo choo. Well, this train is going everywhere. Remember, this is Snowpiercer. This train goes around the entire world. A lot of places. So let's go. Let's follow these tracks back. All right, we got to get back. We're going a little too far. Whisper. There's more of us than there are of them. They fear that if we realize this, that the workers of the world might unite. Uh-oh. I just quoted Communist Manifesto. That's dangerous. If the 50s, if I said this on the things, I'd be like arrested. I'd be blacklisted. I wouldn't be allowed to do something because I said a thing. Why were they so adamant? Because it's Russian, because you're colluding with the Russians. No, maybe, not saying it is. Maybe the McCarthy trials were about trying to suppress communism and socialist ideas, because the ideas that happened in these other countries that they saw happen were that the workers of the world united. The French Revolution. The workers of the world united. They said, there's more of us than there are of them. We can, if we all work together, we can overthrow that government and try to create a new one. One that's going to be better, one that's going to help people. Power corrupts. Ultimate power corrupts, absolutely. Does power always corrupt? I don't know about always, but history's a pretty strong prover. I don't know why power corrupts. If we can all work in a society, like we all really are equal. In a small community, you can totally do it. When you get larger, it gets tougher because like one person's like, maybe they've gotten forgotten for some reason, and they don't have as much, and they're like, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. We're trying to be equal here. Like, let's not get slow down. Is there something you need? I'll help you out. Take a deep breath. What's bothering you? If you go to Disneyland, you start being like, man, you're not going to get good treatment. If you say, hey, I'm sorry to bother you. We're having a rough day. These lines, I get it. Everyone wants to go to Disneyland. We spent so much money to come here with our family. We felt like we just haven't really gotten to do anything. Disneyland wants you to come back and spend more money there. If you're kind like that, cast member may like, let me see what I can do. They call up their friend who works over at your favorite attraction. Hey, can you, this family's having a rough day. Can we make a magic moment here? Can you like get them into the line, the fast pass line, even though they didn't get the thing? The fast pass exists, the genie. We're not gonna charge them for the thing. This one time, it's gonna make what? We're losing out on a sale of, it's pretty high now, like the $20 thing. We're losing out on that sale. They're a big company. We're passing out $20 to make a magic moment. They're going to remember that. They're going to say, you know what? Disneyland made that magic for me. And maybe we can't afford that trip right now, but I'm going to tell everyone, like, it was magical. That's going to increase ticket sales. That's advertising. That's marketing. Good customer service is marketing. Be nice. Karma. Do good things to others, good things will come back to you. Be nice to others, good things back to the customer there. The guest at Disneyland was kind to the cast member. In turn, the cast member acting on behalf of the company. At least when I was there, we're gonna have to pause this in a second. I'm really gonna use the restroom. That cast member was acting. I was taught to make magic moments when these things happen, because I worked in the stores. I was told, like, you're not a sales position. They're already in there. If someone wants to buy something, help them. But my number one job was to help people and make them happy. Because if people have a good experience at Disneyland, they're paid to get in there. If they have a good experience there, they'll tell their friends. They'll come back when they can afford it. They can't afford it all the time necessarily. It's a premium experience. it's a really great experience. When it's working right, it's really great. If you're there and you're determined to be happy, if you're determined to be upset, it's not going to work. Whatever. That's the truth with everything. This is true with life in general. Have a positive mindset going into it. Things aren't going your way. Oh well, it's a little rough. Maybe, yeah, if you're going because you're like killing some time in the restaurant or the store because you can't get into everything, and you're like, I'm a little bummed. And the cast member, if everything's going well, they'll say, "What's wrong?" Magic moment, make them happy. They'll come back. Costs us just a little bit. Makes them happy. You drop your ice cream. A cast member sees that. Here you go. Here's new ice cream. To you, the cost of that ice cream to you is much higher than the cost of the ice cream to the company. But again, what? Even at the cost to you, like $10. You know how much it costs for a ticket? So for you to come back, because if you make someone upset at Disneyland and they have a bad time, they're not coming back. They're not going to tell their friends. They're going to tell their friends they had a terrible time. I'm going to go to Disneyland. Disneyland sucks. Blah, blah, blah. Disneyland's amazing. When it's operating correctly, Disneyland is best storytelling, the best entertainment. It is the ideal. It's my ideal standard of entertainment. I would love to be able to do that as a storyteller. So, happiness, Disneyland. We're backing up this train. We're getting there. Being kind. Kind of doesn't come back. No, but complaining, getting the thing. Oh no. Is this train derailed? I mean, I know there's this depot over here, but I kind of want to like not abandon any of these thoughts. Oh, I know I was talking about there's more of us than there are of them. Oh, that was it, because in a socialist society, everyone's equal. Everyone is equal. Really, like really. You help each other out. Remember the cavemen people in the back, cave people. One person couldn't produce anything. They couldn't contribute to society. You're not contributing. Sorry for the voice. It's just I don't intend any offense. I don't know, like that. Some people have different voices. You give just a little bit, and they're all good. Okay, everyone's even. Maybe the way we've developed our society, we've done equality but not equity. And what does that mean? You can look that up. This person's bigger than the other person, they require more energy. So with everyone eating the exact same thing, they're going to be a little more run down, a little tired than this person, the tiny person. They don't need as much, but they're like full of a bunch of energy. Okay, maybe we need to re-examine society, because like at the moment, that person's like, I know we're all the same, but it's not fair. I deserve more. I mean, rightfully so. They need more energy to survive. That person doesn't need that much. Why should they be getting the thing? Fair. Let's not get crazy and power hungry here and try to oppress people so that you can have more. Let's just bring that concern to society. And in a good society, you're saying, hey, look, I know we're all even. We're all equal. I get it. I'm having trouble surviving off of this amount. Could we maybe work around it? Maybe we all need to produce a little bit more, like, so that we all have a little more. Just so we're all happy, that'd be ideal. Food's scarce, it's tough to do. Okay, maybe is there someone who doesn't need as much and they like have excess that's just going to waste? Come to think of it, yeah. All right, we can redistribute that. And the person who has the less, maybe they're gonna say like, that's not fair. I deserve the same. Well, let's talk about this rationally. Like, hey, let's try it out. If you feel that, and you might feel that you have less energy, but do you feel like you can't keep up with the rest of us on that? Maybe not. Okay, so now we're going back. This is going back and forth, zigzag, switchbacks, as they call it. Easier way to go up a hill than going straight up. So, in the society, I want a thing. Some people are power hungry. Power corrupts. I'm controlling this. I'm thinking I deserve this. I deserve more because I am doing more. I'm contributing more to society. I deserve more. That's fair. Get paid more because you do more. My task is harder than yours. I deserve more money. Here's the interesting thing. My task is harder than yours. I deserve more money. We're the same body type and everything. Like, it requires the same amount of energy for us to live. My job's more complicated. Is my job that's less complicated not necessary to society? No. Right? Okay, yeah, we need your job. But no, I'm just talking about it like I'm expending more energy. I deserve more money. My time is more valuable. Your time is more valuable. You as a human, we all get so much time on Earth. You as a human are more valuable than me. Why? Because I'm doing more skilled labor. Come on, man. We're all just trying to survive here. I get it. My job is complicated. If it's really bothering you that much, can we switch jobs? No, you're just unable to do this skill. Can you teach me? Maybe we take turns doing that. Like if we don't like doing this job, we can take turns. Am I arguing that a brain surgeon should make the same amount as the cashier at a grocery store? Kinda. But they went through all this training and skill. Okay, yeah. It's great that they did that. What if there wasn't capitalism? What if we didn't have money as a thing? What if we all just took care of each other? How would we be able to exchange goods without money? Okay, maybe we might need that, but let's make sure everyone has the same amount. And it's just like a record keeping. That's what money is. We all get the same amount. Or maybe it's someone can't produce. Like regardless of what you can produce, money is a great way. Like no longer are we held by what we're able to contribute. It's everyone gets this amount of coupons, food stamps, money, and we can exchange that with people, and just every year everyone gets the same amount, and we can do with it what we will, and we decide and we do the thing, and we all are just taking care of each other. We're not going to give anyone any more money because their job is harder or they're putting more energy in. Yeah, some people are a drain on society. What are we going to do? Kill them because they can't work, because they're a little tired, or because their brain's not working the right way, so that they don't have the motivation to work because of that? Maybe we should try to figure out, why is that the case? Why are they not contributing? We've made a lot of advancements in society. We can fix this problem. And it's not fixing this problem with like, be less lazy. We can fix this problem. And maybe it's a chemical thing. Maybe it's just talking to them or finding the right thing that makes them happy. Yeah, I think a heart surgeon should make the same. Brain surgeons should make the same as a grocery checker. I am a crazy communist. But in these communist countries, the leaders are corrupt. Yeah, they are. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Maybe we don't need leaders in government. Maybe if we all took care of each other, we wouldn't need government. Maybe if we're all nice to each other, we don't need government. Maybe if there weren't the government, we wouldn't need government. I already recorded another video on that. So they don't want us. The rule of threes. They want to. No, I need to get back to that, but I'm a little far away. I need to use the restroom. But they're worried there's more of us than there are of them. They're afraid of us. They're afraid of the people, and they don't want us to realize that there's more of us than there are of them. I'm sorry, this is just going to jump. We're going to hop the tracks. We're going to hop the tracks back to the rule of threes, because I did air and water. I hadn't really finished water yet. I went on a sidetrack. Remember water. Rule of threes, we're getting back there. I'm going to, speaking of water.